simply allow yourself the moment of gazing into the scene the way you really would love it to be. So in other words, don't allow any not enoughness, lack, less, never to enter into this mind's eye gazing. Allow your imagination to go full out because you are uniquely made. You are your own creator and you've been created. And God gave you everything that you needed. He needs you to believe enough in it. And when you believe and see, things start to open up. Now, it doesn't mean that it's easy. It means that it could be stepping stones for you. It means it could be growth opportunity. The direction of the dream in your mind's eye is your soul's stepping stones to elevation. And really, that's what we're here for, is for our soul to grow and to give. Be brave enough to live a life of your dreams according to your vision and your purpose, instead of the expectations and the opinions of others. How many of you have realized that you've been living in cages? That you've been living in a cage that you allowed to be put around your body, but it was put there before you even knew that it was starting to be put there. It was put there before you even knew who you were. Your self-identity, what you allow yourself to say. If you get a ping in your mind and you go, I can't say yes to that, it's because you've been conditioned, but part of you might want to. And you might, in your essence, supposed to say yes to that. But our conditioning doesn't allow us. So I want you to kind of imagine yourself, as I continue to read this, as a woman in a little barred cage. And in that cage is all the comfort and your special pillow and your bed and your home and everything that's familiar to you. And also in that cage are limitations of how far you've gone, because you've only gone as far as you've gone. And the bars hold the perimeter of that. And just outside of that cage are the bigger whispers of your heart, the dreams and the unknown and the scary stuff. And the people you haven't met yet are on the other side of the bar. And as you stand and walk around that cage and you look around and you hear the chinging of the metal, you're trapped inside of your own beliefs, of your circle of influence, of your financial abundance or lack, your faith. All of those things are in this cage. Your history, meaning what you believe you're capable of and what you're not. This is now a noticing for you. And you have something that's here. Or maybe you haven't even allowed yourself to look inside for a very long time. And what I'd like you to do as you're standing in that cage in this moment is I'd like for you to look down in the palm of your hand. So go ahead and actually look at your hand. Close the fist and look in your hand. And as you look at your hand, I want you to start to feel something inside the clenching of your fist. There's actually something in there. So now you're standing inside this cage of your own limitations. Because you're the creator of your life. You get to say yes or no to the designs that have been given to you, to the gifts to unwrap and not unwrap that were waiting for you on this earth. You're standing in your cage. Your hand is closed, clenched fist, and you start to feel something inside it. You're hearing these beautiful songs and starting to smell the smell of what's outside the cage. Think of one of your favorite places to be. I want you to hear the sounds of a vacation spot maybe, or maybe it's in your own backyard. I want you to smell the perfect smell that you love to smell. You're hearing the sounds, you're smelling the smell. Feel the temperature, your favorite temperature. And you want to go outside that cage, see the scene. And then you uncurl your fingers. And you notice there's a key. There's a key that's been sitting inside of your fist the whole time. Now you notice the door in that cage and that you have this key. You have to decide, smelling the smell, feeling the temperature, hearing the sounds, if you're going to put that key in the lock and let yourself step out of your comfort zone, step out of the world you know, for just a little what if you did. I'm going to continue reading as you hold that key. Situations are situational. After all, cocoa, flour, sugar, butter, and eggs can feel completely at a loss individually. But the moment you see them mixed at the right temperature, would you have focused fabulous brownies that you desired in your life if you didn't see the brownies complete in the recipe from knowing how the brownie tasted or the picture on the box? When we focus on the mess instead of the vision, we lose important perspectives and perspective. When we lose focus on the mess instead of the vision, we lose important perspectives or perspective. Step past your problems in your mind, in your mind's eye, to the life you want. Train your mindset to focus on actions toward the desired dreams. So if we were going to focus our mind eye on the life you want and train your mindset to focus on the actions toward the dream you want, what would you do with that key? The first thing you would do is you would put it in the lock, and you would trust yourself to just turn it and open the door. Now, I call this, in the life cycle of change, childlike wide-eyed wonder stage. You don't have to know what to do. You just have to know you want to go there. And so the first step of wherever you want to go in your business or your life is to look around. What's possible? What can be true here? Who's doing what that I'm interested in? Just take a look around. You don't even have to do anything yet. You just have to show up, like to things like this, or to seminar, which I want to remind you of the dates for, or listen to podcasts, to books, go to your Mary Kay In Touch, watch the trainings, head to wildareafamily.com, put in the password belief, all lowercase, and look at those trainings. Start to have conversations with people that are doing the things you're interested in doing. Childlike wide-eyed wonder. It's an easy way to open your cage. Look around. And now remember, children don't judge things. Children just observe. They absorb. So as you're looking, release judgment. Judgment of yourself, judgment of others. It's a hard thing to do. It's a new thing to train yourself to do if you haven't done that much. And you're just curious. What else can be true here? Ask yourself those questions. What else could be true here? What have I not yet seen? What would I need to believe in order to have this happen for myself? How can this be possible for me? Curiosity. What's the next step in your change? In the life cycle of change comes adolescence. Same for change. That's the life cycle of life. Childhood, adolescence. Now we're in adolescence. This is where it gets tricky. This is where it stops. Most people stop. In adolescence, it's messy. It's uncomfortable. You're awkward. Your nose grows before your face. Your feet might grow before your legs. Who knows? You don't know this body yet. You don't feel like this is a part of you. You haven't had a past that shows you this new way of being, doing, achieving. And the people around you don't recognize this version of you. And so you're gonna screw up. You're gonna do it awkward. You're gonna do it wrong. You're gonna do it right. You're gonna sometimes flop around. You're gonna feel weird. All the things, think back to your adolescence that you felt, insecurities. And maybe people even making fun of you. This is what stops people from getting out of cages and growing. This is when you go back in your cocoon and go, never mind. This is when we get the screw ups and we go, oh, that path wasn't meant for me. Let me go back in my little coiled cage. But when you were a child, you fell a lot. You bumped a lot. You screwed up a lot. You never judged it. It was a part of your journey. When I fell down on the way to sales directorship and had to try 3 times just to flop over the finish line of becoming a sales director and qualification for a full year, had 27 parties canceled consecutively. I could have seen that as a mega failure, as this not being my path. Remember, meaning is everything. What happens to you is nothing. Meaning is everything. So that fall down I saw in my messy adolescence as a stepping stone, that God was making me so strong that I could lead hundreds and thousands of people. But that was my interpretation. That's the gift that I gave myself. I didn't have a crystal ball to know I'd be a national. The path wasn't paved. It was just this feeling that I started with, that I honored, and that I was willing to go through the messy adolescence to get to. And learn a lot and study a lot. So from messy adolescence, guess what you get next? By the way, you're fully alive at this point. You're certainly not in a walking coma like most people. I cried, I prayed, I got closer to God in the messy adolescence. I also gained pride and skill and a new victory, finally. Now, adulthood is next. What happens in adulthood? So I'd like you to kind of even like make a wheel. In fact, let me see if I can pull up that wheel for you as I'm talking so you get a visual. So what's next? Next is adulthood. Adulthood, write the word purposeful. Purposeful adulthood. You are not identifying yourself as that next stage of your life yet, but now you have the tools in purposeful adulthood. You have the ability to execute the things that are going to get you there over and over and over again. And that's how you get good. You execute. And now you're going to start to feel more like this is you, that you can at least do it. So think of something that you didn't know how to do well before. Let's think about riding a bike. At first, you were just floppy on it. And then you would fall a lot. And then you were able to ride. Do you remember that first time? Like you're like, I'm going. And you had to concentrate. You had to concentrate while you were riding the bike. This is adulthood. You're focusing. Just like when you got your license and you learned to drive a car. When you were first driving, you were concentrating on the skill. Press the blinker, turn the wheel, focus on the pedal, push the brake. Purposeful adulthood. The next stage is maturity. This is what you get to have when you've stepped out of the cage and you look around with childlike, wide-eyed wonder. Then you trip and you're messy. Guess what? You can go back to your cage for a minute, but don't you stay there. Get back out. And then You begin to try things, and then you find something that you like enough to keep trying it and get purposeful about it. And then suddenly you become it. This is maturity. It's being. It is you. You identify it. Others identify it within you. A maturity can feel great. It takes a lot less effort. It takes no effort, hardly. You just show up and you own that space. It's part of yourself. That can be in your health. That can be in relationships and how you communicate and address things. That can be a task, a work that you do, a volunteer that you do. It can be how you put yourself together. It's a part of you. Maturity. And next, there's a next life cycle. Childhood, adolescence, adulthood, adulthood, maturity, and death. Now, death can be in any area of your life. Any area that no longer serves you, any area that is not making you resonate in your soul as this being, what I want and where I want to be. It could be in your body. It could be in your intimate relationships. It could be in the work that you're doing. It could be in your spiritual walk. It could be in anything. In death, you're called to move to a new phase or join the walking dead, which is most of society, because they're afraid of what? Messy adolescence, and they don't know how to start to get out of death. So they spin or they shut it off. They're anguished or they go numb. Where are you? Let's talk about your business. Are you numb? Or are you anguished? I'll tell you, anguished is better than numb. Numb pays no attention to what's happening. They're just existing, and then they die. Anguished is a tap on the shoulder. At least you're awake, that you're uncomfortable. So in that death, you have a choice. You have a choice to remain numb. You have a choice to join the masses, the herd, the sheep, the enough, those that say this is good enough. Should be grateful. Should be, if you have any shoulds in your life, you've just dampened your future. You've squashed your little voice. You've shut out actually where God whispers to you. You've added into the mix of the disobedience of the calling of your soul. You get to do what you want. But if you have shut off, or if you are anguished, there is something that's calling you, or you wouldn't feel that way. So what's your first step if you feel that way? Childlike, wide-eyed wonder. The life cycle of change. So my friends, where do you begin? Where do you want to be? In any area. I hope I've shown you that you have the key. And all you have to do is insert it. And all you have to do is start to look around. And if you don't like it, you can look around something else, and somewhere else, to someone else. But keep looking and then start trying, because at least you're alive instead of dead. Now, I hope that you take the risk of the extra and put your molecules in a place that is newly uncomfortable, that will probably and often likely stretch you. And